Once again, good evening, boxing fans. This is the Radulich Broadcasting Network alternative commentary for Canelo Álvarez versus Sergey Kovalev for the WBO Light Heavyweight Championship. Canelo Álvarez is stepping up into yet another weight class to challenge for this title. Word has it the score is already 120-0 before it starts. Ha! Radulich Broadcasting jokes. And speaking of which,
we are not the only ones making that joke, by the
way. That voice you hear, fresh off his coverage of the Bad Motherfucker Championship of the World, UFC 244, Masvidal versus Diaz. Ladies and gentlemen, from 401mania.com, Robert Winfree. How do you do, sir?
I'm all right. I don't. This is not an unfamiliar feeling for me. I don't do this all the time, but I am not opposed to being the lone sane person willing to die on a hill against the tide of insanity. And the amount of people going, "How dare you stop that fight between Diaz and Masvidal for cuts?" Like, I get you're disappointed, guys, but really?
Let's not dwell on the past. That was so long ago. Now listen. We've got Canelo, clearly boxing's greatest star. The next Muhammad Ali, if you will.
I don't know why you try to bait me like that.
More of just making fun of the sport of boxing. But anyway.
You and I thought Canelo lost his last fight.
I've thought Canelo lost several of his last fights, but it's neither here nor there. Hence the ongoing and equally hilarious running gag of Canelo wins all the fights, even the ones he's not in.
Look, the real question about this is whether or not his contract dispute with DAZN is going to play into how wide a margin they have him win on the scores by. Are they going to try to sweetheart him back with even wider scores than usual? Or are they going to maybe tell him, you know what, we're not going to protect you this time, and you might have to actually win a fight on your own merits?
Maybe they'll stop the fight when he punches Kovalev in the eye once.
It might happen.
It might. All right, before these two, they're actually in the ring now, so give me the 50 words or less. Canelo is stepping up from his previous weight classes to light heavyweight to challenge for this first light heavyweight title belt.
He will never defend this belt if he wins it, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
How does he measure up against Kovalev? How do you see this fight breaking down?
Canelo needs to make this fight a little bit ugly. He has to mitigate Kovalev's jab, which is very good. Kovalev is just a little bit worn down at this point in his career from all the years and all the wars. He's a little bit soft. He's showed off being a little bit soft to the body in his last fight. So I think Canelo needs to, again, get close, mitigate the jab, work the body, and try to drag this fight out. He's going to win on the scores. All he has to do is not get stopped. By contrast, Kovalev needs to pretty much stop him. He could look, Kovalev could drop Canelo in every round and lose the decision.
We're not cynical or anything.
Boxing makes you cynical if you pay attention.
Sure.
Kovalev, I think, to be successful, needs to use his jab, utilize some of his power punching. He is the bigger man here by a fair margin. And I saw some people speculate that maybe he just fights a 6-round fight. Like, he knows he's not going to win on the scorecards. So how about we just sprint for 6 rounds and see if we can't overwhelm this guy during that period of time?
That was what I was going to say. If you already know that the fix is in and there's no way you're going to win his decision, why not just go balls out from the beginning? Throw whatever you have out there, and either he knocks you out in the process or you knock him out, but at least it doesn't go to the judges where you already know you've lost. And here we go. Round 1. Kovalev comes out jabbing. Canelo content to cover up.
Kovalev's jab he has a very, very good jab. And his ability to establish and utilize it in this fight is going to be key if he's going to find success.
All right, Kovalev just sticking that jab out there. Again, Canelo content to just cover up his head. Doesn't want to take the full brunt of Kovalev's attack, obviously.
No, again, Kovalev, the much heavier puncher of the two, in no small part because he is the much larger man of the two. Yeah, look at that size disparity, man. And again, if Canelo does win this fight, he is never going to defend that belt. He wants nothing of the guys like Artur Beterbiev, who we covered a little bit earlier, who covered a couple of weeks ago, who is just a marauding bruiser of a fighter.
Kovalev being a bit of a bully there, just sort of grabbing at Canelo and pushing him back.
Yeah, he's going to try to use his size, and thus far, he's not looking to really empty the gas tank early, but it does look like he's pushing a bit more of a pace than he tends to.
Do you have any idea what possessed Canelo to go up another weight class?
And he's going up 2 weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
And the aspirational take is he's trying to be great and do something that very few other boxers have ever done. The cynical take is he's avoiding a few other fights, including a contractually mandated trilogy with Triple G, in favor of a less dangerous opponent. And when I say less dangerous, I don't mean in the ring. I mean if he loses, there's a built-in excuse. And Golden Boy and DAZN really want to push this guy, so they're going to find ways to give him accolades.
All right, fair enough.
Where you want to fall between cynical and aspirational, I leave to you as an individual, dear listener. But I think those are the 2 primary takes.
So Canelo's
really sedate round from Canelo. He's just trying to wade forward and land hooks. He's not really jabbing himself.
No, he hasn't thrown much of anything.
He hasn't landed anything, even if he has thrown.
I was going to say, Kovalev has been very active. He's been sticking that jab out there. Canelo
fighting like a guy who can just coast to victory for 12 rounds.
It was a good counterpunch there from Canelo. I'm not sure how much of it landed on Kovalev. And that's your end of round 1. Easy round for Kovalev if you're being fair. So probably went to Canelo.
10-8 at least. I mean, look, setting aside the jokes and the cynicism, 10-9, Kovalev, fairly straightforward. So again, officially, almost certainly goes to Canelo. God, I hate that man.
Canelo receiving instructions in the corner. Hey, wake up, pal.
Canelo, look, the instructions Canelo got were that's 1 down, 11 to go. And then we get to go home with our new belt.
Canelo doesn't have a lot of fire in his eyes, does he? He just kind of seems to be, I'm here. They're paying me a lot of money.
At the moment, he's doing some things, but he is not really that engaged yet. He might be playing a long game. Like, okay, I'm going to give you the first couple of rounds kind of thing. I'm going to get a feel for things, then I'm going to start working the body, and I'm just going to ramp up the pressure over time. But, at the moment, he does not seem
enthused.
Yeah, he's not really getting after anything.
Yeah, he's swinging hooks, and he's not getting anything. They're all just flying by Kovalev.
Yeah, there's almost no like scientific boxing right now from Canelo. He's just swinging. Then again, maybe he knows the point at which Canelo is supposed to take a punch on the chin and go down. So who knows? Boxing, only moderately less fixed than professional wrestling at this point. Sorry, moderately.
And I want to go ahead and give a big ups to Tyson Fury, who put on a stellar textbook wrestling performance against Braun Strowman in Saudi Arabia.
God, that sucked. Like, hang on. When I say it sucked, it went about 3 to 5 minutes too long.
Yeah, they could have afforded to shave some off of that. I was okay with the count out, though.
I have no problem with the finish. Like, you're not going to do an actual knockout And if you're trying to play up Tyson Fury as a big puncher, he's not. But if you're going to play that up, the countout protects Braun in the sense that you got clocked in the face by a world champion boxer and couldn't get back into the ring by a 10 count. Okay, I can live with it. The whole thing took a little bit too long, and considering they only gave that Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez took 2 minutes of in-ring action, I think if you include interviews in the post-fight angle with Ray, the whole thing clocks in at less than 15.
Well, in fairness, Kane's fat and shiny.
And Brock sucks.
Brock was purple. He looked like Barney, the friendly dinosaur, when that was over. Hey, folks, if you're wondering why we're not calling the action, there hasn't been much of any.
It's because, look, watch any 30-second segment of this fight. It's Kovalev fighting long, using his jab, using his right, moving, evading. Canelo trying to cover up and wade forward and swing hooks. It's a shockingly unspecific fight from Canelo, who's also not gotten to the body, I think, even once so far, despite that being the only real avenue of success not the only one, but the most visible avenue of attack for him that most pundits had picked out. Yeah, there was a left to the body from Canelo, but that was actually a pretty good counter combination. There we go. He's starting to wake up a little bit. And as I say that, he swings wild, misses, and gets countered. Good on you, Canelo. Biggest star in boxing.
All right, we are setting up for round 3 here. That's 2 rounds, I think, to Kovalev so far.
So, of course, officially it is now currently 256-0, Canelo.
Listeners at home going, I just wanted to hear them call the fight.
No one just wanted to hear us call the fight. Like, if you're listening to us, you're listening for this kind of stupidity.
Speaking of stupidity,
Canelo.
Replay here is a replay of Kovalev just laying it into Canelo, and Canelo just content to cover up. I don't think I've ever seen Canelo cover up this much at the start of a fight.
I mean, maybe the Triple G rematch, when he was just kind of trying to walk him down and eating jabs and covering up along the way, but even then, he was a bit more active looking to counter.
Well, according to the unofficial scorecard, it is, in fact, 20-18 so far for Kovalev.
The unofficial scorecard to, of course, maintain the veneer of professionalism. The actual judges' scorecard, we all know, is much, much.
All right, Canelo's actually starting to throw some jabs. Hot diggity.
Oh, hot diggity dog. I kind of like that we can just have fun and bury this crap on occasion.
Kovalev has snuck a couple in there that have landed clean on Canelo. He's had a couple of pretty good shots so far.
Yeah, and he's also just kind of working consistently. So that does count for a lot. And again, Kovalev's jab, which is, again, he has a great jab. That's giving Canelo some problems at this point. And the reach disparity is playing a little bit into that. But yeah, Canelo does not seem to have an answer for this. I mean, did he just train with the assumption he was going to walk through this guy? Like, there's no real sense of strategy here that I can tell. A good counter right. But like, anytime I actively start trashing his strategy, he starts doing something.
Big hook from Canelo. Kovalev returns fire, knocks Canelo sideways a bit.
Yeah, Canelo doesn't actually want an exchange, like a prolonged firefight. He just wants a grueling, bruising pace.
I'm actually surprised Canelo hasn't tried to tie up Kovalev in the beginning.
A little bit the same, actually. I mean, the guy who actually has gone for the clinch on a handful of occasions has been Canelo.
Kovalev is really working that jab.
Again, he has one of the better jabs you'll see, and it was always going to be an important weapon for him.
All right, Canelo's starting to come alive here, right as the round ends. Good stuff.
Trying to once again employ the strategy of, if I win the last 10 seconds, they'll give me the round. Which, in all fairness, he has not been deterred from doing by results. Scientific method is in his favor, actually.
And there we see Charles Barkley.
He's fat.
And
I don't blame the guy.
And he's no role model. He'll tell you that himself.
Yeah, Canelo, again, in the third round, which he still lost, I think, did seem to actually show signs of life. Like, okay, I've got a feel for the timing. I might have a feel for the distance. So he's got a little bit more of a counter on the jab of Kovalev kind of dialed in. He's not doing it every time, but he seems to have a response at least now.
All right, here we go. Round 4, and we are zipping through here. Thank God.
Canelo landed a pretty decent right to the body at the end of that round. See if he's ready to really kind of go back to
Chris Mannix gave that last round to Canelo.
Of course he did, you hack.
Good hook from Canelo.
Yeah, he does, again, jokes aside, Canelo does seem to be kind of coming on and is trending upwards.
So he's liking that left hook. Canelo is. He's scored with it a few times. He finally... the problem is, my problem with Canelo this whole fight so far, when he does punch, he only throws one punch at a time. He's not doing any combinations at all. He's really not trying to make anything happen. He's just like, I'll just let it fly. I'll try to use my speed to my advantage. Meanwhile, Kovalev just doubled up on jabs.
Yeah, again, I have Kovalev up all 3 rounds. Officially, he's probably lost all 3 rounds, and the punditry is going to start swinging in favor of Canelo because that's what they're paid to do.
Okay, so Kovalev just tried to spear Canelo.
I mean, unless he actually pulled out a physical spear and went after him, I don't care.
He just kind of charged forward, and Canelo, to his credit, stayed on his feet, but he definitely charged at him.
Yeah, Canelo's ability to kind of explode through distance is still there, but you're right about him just like, one. That's a jab. That's
Whee!
a hook.
Another one. Whee! Another one.
Okay, his body work occasionally is like 2. Okay, slip a punch, 1-2 to the body. Yeah, combinations. As Kovalev continues to pump the jab and disrupt him in many important ways.
Canelo goes to the body with a right.
Nice to see him finally getting around to the body work, which, again, is a really important key as far as his path to victory goes, if he can connect with that consistently.
Big right hook from Canelo.
Or actually, I think looking at the first round, Canelo might win legitimately.
Stunning left from Canelo. Kovalev tries to return fire and nearly gets him. Narrowly evades, Canelo does.
Yeah, Canelo's kind of reactive defense is becoming a little bit better this round.
So, what I wanted to say right before the end there, my issue with Kovalev right now is, while I'm liking that jab, he seems to be content to just punch into Canelo's arms.
Yeah, he's not building off of it all that well yet, which is a problem. It's there and it's scoring, but what are you doing besides jabbing? Like, you're jabbing for the sake of the jab, not jabbing to set up a hook, not doubling or tripling up and then leading it into a right. I landed a pretty good right there, actually. I mean, if anything, you should start, jab and then hook off the jab, because Canelo's defense is very the same every time.
We are starting round 5 of this 12-round championship fight, and we're seeing a lot more of the same here from Kovalev. Just keep sticking that jab out there. Chris Maddox definitely gave that round to Canelo, the previous round.
Probably by a much wider margin. Like, he went 10-7. Just like the judges. Boy, Canelo is really winding up on everything he's doing. Like, really. Watching some of the replays, like, that's technically ugly.
Good right from Canelo.
Yeah, I am 3-1 right now for Kovalev, but things are trending more in Canelo's favor. That said, man, Canelo does not have a good response to the jab anymore. He's still just kind of taking it. I feel so bad for Kovalev. You're not going to stop, because you're not going to stop the guy. Canelo's never been stopped. Never even really been that close to being stopped. And you're not going to win on the scorecard, so what do you do?
Well, Kovalev seems to be trying to break down Canelo's defenses. He's purposely punching into the arms. Instead of trying to maybe get him to drop his guard, he seems content to just fight on the outside.
You just got to look to batter his arms.
Yeah.
And we see Canelo at this point starting to slip the jab a little bit better and get to the body, look to set up his stuff to the head. Canelo does seem to kind of be waking up at this point. I wonder if he was just blinded by the color of his gloves for the first couple of rounds, because ye gods. Is he going to a rave or something?
I was thinking 80s weightlifter. He just needs some Zubu pants.
Even the 80s weightlifters were not this gauche. Like, that is just harsh on the eyes.
Well, nice uppercut there from Kovalev.
Yeah, he seems to be building that more into his repertoire now, and it is paying off for him. Again, he is outlanding Canelo by volume. The only issue is, again, which blows carry more weight. And at the moment, that does seem to be leaning towards Canelo. But yeah, he's building that uppercut in a little bit more. He's building an uppercut off the lead hand. He is finally kind of starting to build off of his jab instead of just jab for its own sake.
That's the end of round 5.
Probably another Canelo round. So again, I'd be 3-2 for Kovalev. Kovalev got in some nice body shots towards the end of that round too. But yeah, things are starting to cook a little bit at least.
Yes. We are in the 6th round, up almost halfway through this fight, such as it is.
But I might take that back, actually. I'm kind of watching how Kovalev is closing the 5th. He might have taken that back.
All right, here we go. I am so sick of Canelo just starting every round with his guard up.
I mean, I do wonder what would happen if he just dropped his hands and walked forward like Michael Myers style, you know? Like, just go full on like Jason Voorhees. You're not going to stop me.
Well, look, like, I get what he's doing, but you still... try fighting instead of, try coming out ready to throw hands.
Yeah, it's a thought.
Not just turtle up. Good shot to the body from Canelo.
Yeah, those body shots are going to start wearing things down as the fight goes on. And again, Kovalev's been a little bit softer to the abdomen over his last couple of fights. And, of course, the unofficial scorecard on the broadcast is all, yay, Canelo, his balls are in my mouth. I'm waiting for one of the judges of these Canelo fights when asked you, did you even see the fight? You just go, no, but I saw the house it bought. Because that was Michael Caine's response to the Jaws movie he was in, which was terrible. Someone asked him, he said, I've never seen the movie. I've heard it's terrible. But I've seen the house it bought, and it's quite lovely. You know what? You go, Michael Caine.
So Kovalev's taken some pretty good shots here so far. Canelo definitely being more reliant on his speed than his power. Kovalev's absorbed quite a number of punches to the face.
Kovalev's taken the blows he's been hit with a lot better than I think most people thought he would. He's been hit flush a handful of times, and it's just kind of like, all right, let's keep going, little man.
Nice combination there from Kovalev. I think
Kovalev pushing into the clinch a lot more. I don't know why specifically, unless he's just trying to kind of hang on Canelo on occasion.
Kovalev needs to get a little bit busier in the next round.
Yeah, he might have kind of taken that round off a little bit, which, fair enough. Again, it doesn't matter what he actually does within the context of any round. He's going to lose them all officially.
And that's the end of round 6. Not a whole lot happening in this fight.
Not so far, but you can see the building blocks that both guys are kind of going for thus far. We're also probably looking at, officially, Canelo will now be winning by statistically impossible margins, but will be doing so. I think realistically we're looking at 3 rounds apiece. Possibly 4-2 in favor of Kovalev, but that might be, again, that's defensible, but might be a bit outside what's likely. Yeah, Canelo is definitely still... He's not full-on sleepwalking, but I don't know, man. He's still really kind of not profoundly engaged with the activity in which he's
No, that's what I was going to say. I wouldn't necessarily say sleepwalking, but he feels like he's just existing in this fight. Like, I don't see a lot of fire there. And I hate that he's just covering up the way that he is. His strategy seems to be try to get Kovalev to open up and then counter.
Yeah.
But he's a little slow on the uptake, even at that.
He's a little bit slow. He's also not... He's not really pushing the pace like you'd kind of hope he would. And... yeah, I don't know. It's an odd performance from him, all things considered.
No, it's like he's not fighting with any confidence.
And again, in all fairness, he is still like at worst he's even on the scorecards. In all probability, he's winning. But this is not the performance a lot of people were kind of expecting or predicting him to kind of give when he took this big step up in competition against a fighter of Kovalev's stature.
No, I feel like even though he was frustrated by him, he was much more active in like the Mayweather fight.
I mean, he was more active in the Triple G fights. And again, he should have lost both of those, but... Yeah, he's just...
I think Canelo's starting to find his bearings in there, and is getting a little bit more active now, fighting with a little bit more confidence.
A little bit, but anytime he's swinging to the head, he's missing badly. Like, even though he's got, again, some of his, moxie about him, Kovalev's actually making him pay for it. Which, credit to Kovalev. I'm really surprised Kovalev hasn't gone to the uppercut more. It's been there for him. And I don't know. I mean, I understand you don't want to be too predictable, but look at Canelo's defensive posture and tell me that he's not just asking to be hit in the mouth up the middle. Especially since you've shown so many straight rights, You can use kind of the same shoulder position to show the straight right as you can the uppercut, and that's how you set it up.
All right, we are moving into round 8 here.
Tough round 7 to score, actually. Which means everyone and their dog will give it to Canelo, but...
Let's see. What does Twitter have to say so far?
I think most of Twitter tends to be, Canelo is coming on at this point and has probably won the last, 4 rounds-ish, which I think is fair. I mean, again, absolute worst-case scenario... No, he should be ahead now. I mean, even Twitter is kind of checked out of this fight.
Round 8. 4 more rounds left. Chris Maddox has every round since round 3 for Canelo.
And all the official judges have every round, including the first 2 for Canelo. Boy, you know what? I mean, we've joked about, Canelo being the, hey, decision's already mailed in, guys, don't even need to show up guy. But I don't know, man. Does it just not feel like nobody cares anymore about the... I mean, maybe it's just me, but, there's no buzz really around this fight.
It was hard to say. I mean, I didn't see a... The problem is, on Twitter, I'm following a lot of people with, hashtag boxing. So I'm seeking out the buzz, such as it is. And I think people who are following boxing were interested in this fight and excited for it.
It's an interesting fight. I'm not knocking it in that respect. It's not a bad fight. But Kovalev has come out pretty active in the 8th round here. He's made Canelo miss several times. He's landed pretty well. But Canelo just, employing the old Mexican style of fighting, and it's working.
He just missed with a gigantic hook.
Yeah, again, a lot of what Canelo's doing is, even for him, and he's not the most technical boxer to begin with, just kind of, ugly technique.
All right, Kovalev needs to cut the ring off from Canelo. Canelo keeps just lightly backing into the ropes and oh, I can't fight anymore, which is not how that's supposed to work. Hook lands from Canelo.
Yeah, just the single pot-shotting power punches from Canelo are, you know what, again, they're kind of working for him at this point, actually. We've mocked Canelo's, defense, but Kovalev hasn't forced him to adjust.
No.
Like, he's doing the same thing, and, okay, that's annoying, but if the other guy's not making you do something different, don't fix what ain't broke. Canelo's spending more time on the ropes this round. I don't know if he just wants to give his legs a rest or what, but he's kind of spending a bit more time stationary. He might have, I think he gave Kovalev this round. I mean, officially it'll go to Canelo anyway, but I think Kovalev took that one.
All right, Canelo comes out for the 9th round. And we are starting to get closer to the end of this thing. All right, so Canelo's still having some difficulty fighting out the distance.
Yeah, he's also not moving as well this round. That's kind of an oddity. I wasn't expecting that. His footwork is not maintained as the fight has progressed.
This is not the fight to watch when you're already tired.
It's a Canelo fight. That's kind of a given.
Combination there from Kovalev.
It is really sad that everyone knows this fight's a foregone conclusion. It really is. Ooh, nice jab from Kovalev there. I mean, he's outworking Canelo by hefty margins. Canelo with a little bit of a dirty attack there, to the shock of no one. Right, Kovalev again with that left. He's ending his combinations with his jab, and he started to kind of catch Canelo a little bit with it when Canelo opens up to look to counter. Canelo's still trying to dig the body. And given how little success he's had reliably hitting the head, I mean, even if Kovalev weren't a bit soft to the body, that's what he should be doing. Ooh, good jabs from Kovalev. And Canelo seems to have his feet under him a little bit more this round.
I see what you did there.
I'm not sure what you think I did.
That's another round in the books.
Another kind of tough round to score. I'm actually leaning Kovalev.
Oh, that's
I mean, maybe
You're. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Because again, Kovalev Canelo had success that round. But again, he's kind of relying on Well, I landed 5 punches. I ate 15, but mine counted for more. And that's not the exact math in play with the strike count, but that's kind of the philosophy he seems to be leaning on. Yeah, I actually think Kovalev took the 9th there. So, I've got him.
Chris Mannix has the last 2 going to Kovalev.
So, if we assume Mannix is a moron, which he is, and he gave Canelo a handful of rounds he shouldn't have had, it's entirely feasible that Kovalev is. I mean, again, I've got him up, I think, a point or 2. And by contrast, Canelo, I mean, look, he knows he's winning. He doesn't care. Look at that guy. Shut up, give me my check, give me my belt, and let me go home. He didn't have time for this. Again, he's moving a little bit better now. I don't know what was up with him at the end of that round where he just kind of like, I'm going to sit on the ropes now. I mean, he might have just been, you know what, let's see what happens. Oh, geez, the ref warning Kovalev for kind of shoulder charging.
Well, in the ref's defense, he has charged at Canelo a number of times.
Sort of. I mean, the one that Kovalev acknowledged was clearly a shoulder charge. I don't think that one was. I don't know. I might be wrong. But I'm waiting for the point deduction to screw things up.
Well, we talked earlier about how Kovalev really needs to finish this, and look, he's boxing. I'll give him that much. He is definitely boxing. He is working like a man who thinks he can win this by decision.
He thinks he can win the fight on merit.
So, credit where credit's due. You know, he's standing with the smaller fighter, but I wish he had taken a little bit more chances and really tried to lay in some power punches. Because, again, I think what we're seeing here is Kovalev trying to break Canelo down. But Canelo, I mean, he's not Floyd Mayweather, mind you, but he's still a pretty evasive fighter. He's not just sitting there taking punches.
He's less evasive than Mayweather, but he tends to have a slightly more efficient guard.
Yeah, and his guard has been working for him this entire fight. Kovalev has no answer for that guard.
Not really.
I mean, there's been some rare times where, and you just saw it, where Canelo abandons his guard, goes to strike, and he eats a counter. But it's one punch once in a while.
Yeah, he's really, really loving that guard position, and he's just not going to stop sucking his thumbs.
I've gotten to the point where I'm so tired I have to stand and watch this.
Only 2 more rounds.
Yay! We're in the championship rounds.
I mean, look, I can spoil the result for you. Canelo wins.
All right. Everyone gets the joke.
The real shame is going to be just how stupid the scorecards are.
Well, let's get there. Why we don't want to spoil the ending of our fantasy. Oh, goodness gracious.
Ooh.
So Evander Holyfield's son won his fight tonight. I believe it was his debut. And it looked like they pulled a kid out of high school to fight him.
Okay.
Like they just tackled him on the way to English class. This poor little white boy. Mannix gave that last round to Canelo, because of course he did.
I can see it. I mean, again, Kovalev. I lean towards Kovalev, but it's not like that was a clear round. So I can see Canelo taking the 10th.
All right, again, now we're starting to see him mix it up a little bit.
I disagree.
So Canelo is holding up his guard, sort of leaning into Kovalev, and then trying to open up with some combinations now, which is a little bit different from what he's been doing the previous 9 rounds.
Only what he should have been doing since about the 4th.
Snapping punch there from Canelo. See, it's almost like he's surprised he landed. There's the one punch, and then no follow-up.
Yeah, Canelo really just, I don't know, seems averse to combinations this fight.
Which is really weird, because I've never seen him fight like that before.
Yeah, I am unsure about what's going on here. Like, I don't even understand Canelo's strategy. Like, I really don't. I mean, elements of it I get, high guard, let Kovalev kind of wear himself out, punching you in the guard.
Well, yeah,
press forward, keep a good pace.
Oh! Canelo landed a 1-2 clean, knocked Kovalev out.
Yep, he took the dive. And look, we joked that he knew at what point Kovalev was going to take the punch and go down.
I'm going to go with Canelo has magic punching power.
He has magic money power.
And that he finally found a clean shot, which then he followed up with another power shot, and down went Kovalev. Perfectly plausible.
I mean, sure, it's slightly plausible.
So your winner...
No. Kovalev only completely abandons all of his previously established fight posture. Like, all of it.
Well, I mean, he got caught. That's what happened.
Like, leading up to that, he's like, okay, here's the opening.
Just lying on the bed with a guy pointing lights.
Dude took a nap before this fight. Like, he knew what was up.
Well, your WBO light heavyweight champion, Saul Canelo Álvarez. Fantastic.
Again, never going to defend that belt.
All right.
He just left hook that Kovalev had been blocking all fight.
And he forgot to block that time, you see.
No.
No. All right. We've got a review of Crown Jewel coming your way, and then we've got some Terminator shows. We've got Terminator The Burning Earth, Terminator Dark Fate. We've got As I Lay Dying, Shaped by Fire. That's it for this week. We were going to do an on trial, but Andrew Graham had some personal stuff come up, so we're not going to be able to do that. No boxing this weekend. We've got AEW Full Gear Saturday on the 9th, so we'll review that for you on the 10th. We've got Stephen King's N on November 11th. Dr. Sleep on November 12th. Rumahoy, Time to Party. Are you ready for a poop deck party? I know you are. So we'll review the new Rumahoy on November 13th. We've got an on trial for The Shining on the 14th. And then that's it for the week because Rob's got MMA coverage, which he'll tell you about on the 16th. And there'll be a bare knuckle card that I'll be watching all by myself. So there'll be no fight coverage.
Look, no one should watch bare knuckle.
Everyone should watch bare knuckle.
No one.
You can check out reviews for Blackest Night, Zombieland 2, and Lords of Chaos, all in the archives. Also, we did coverage of UFC 244, the Bad Motherfucker Championship of the World, Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. We were much more enthusiastic for that than we were for this. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a sleepy mock.
Well, it was a significantly more engaging fight.
True. All right, go ahead and do your plugs, but like do them in 50 words or less.
You can find me Sundays hosting the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. A lot of fun. This week we'll be reviewing UFC 244, previewing UFC Moscow, which is a card that exists. I don't have a whole lot for it at this point. We lost like the interesting fight.
Because JDS has got like the staff, doesn't he?
Yep.
And unlike New York, they won't let him fight.
Well, he reported apparently like it ruptured and he had a big hole in his leg.
Yuck.
I mean, look, if Kevin Lee's had actually been open and leaking, they probably wouldn't have let him. So anyway, we'll review the old review preview, any news of the week, which has been a relatively quiet news week in many respects. So Jeff Harris and I will get together to talk about that. Tuesday, Mark Radulich and I will be reviewing Terminator Dark Fate. I have not yet seen it. Mark has. Mark hated it because he hates women.
That's not true.
I know. Neither of those things I just said is true. Well, so we'll see it. We'll talk about it. That'll be fun.
My daughter is the coolest feminist I know. I don't hate women.
That is also not true.
No, that is true. I don't know many cool feminists.
I'm not sure your daughter's a feminist.
I definitely think she's a feminist.
I mean, you can think that. That doesn't make it true.
So sleepy. Are you done?
Yeah, and then... Are we doing something next week or not?
We've just been over that. I'm working 9 to 6, and then
I don't want. I've got whatever stupid hour that Moscow card is because it's on ESPN Plus, and they can do it. They can do it prime time in Moscow, and that's
well. That night is also full. I'm watching Full Gear live, so
I can't imagine why you would do that to yourself.
Well, hey, since you're up for doing boxing coverage, there's Jamel Herring versus Lamont Roach on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
So then shut up.
Look, I asked because I wasn't sure. I was not volunteering for you to find crap to watch.
I will be watching AEW Full Gear. You are... the next time you and I have boxing coverage is on the 30th. Oh, no, the 23rd. So you have the next 2 Saturdays off from boxing coverage.
That will be a thing.
Indeed. All right, folks, thank you for joining us on our Sleepy Time coverage of Canelo versus Kovalev. Much like Kovalev, we hope you take a dive into your bed and sleep on a bed of money. Be well, be safe, and behave.